Grace! Grace! Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
Resident Evil Requiem, aka RE9, aka Reninium, is pretty great. A fitting entry to celebrate the 30th anniversary of one of the longest running and successful horror franchises in gaming. This game solidifies the fact that Capcom are one of the best AAA developers working today. And by AAA, I don't mean live service slop, I mean really good games with a lot of money behind them. And to talk about what makes Requiem so great, I'm gonna have to dive into spoilers. So if you have somehow stumbled upon this video and have yet to play Resident Evil Requiem, you have been warned. Unless you don't care.
That's all for now.
Now, as the game opens, you'll be playing as a newcomer to the series, FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft, trying to uncover a series of murders in which all the victims have ties to what happened in Raccoon City 28 years ago. For Grace's first time in the field, she's being sent to the now condemned Wren Haven Hotel, all alone. Grace actually has some ties to this place, as 8 years ago, this was the very location where her mother was killed. Now, first things first, what the fuck, FBI director? She has never stepped foot in the field and you're sending her to the place where her mother was brutally killed? Are you fucking insane? And secondly, Grace's mother is Alyssa Ashcroft, the main playable character in the PS2 spin-off game Resident Evil Outbreak, a game I haven't even played. So yeah, this game is going to go pretty deep into the RE lore. Overall, this section is a terrific start. Wandering the streets of Wren Haven really makes you go, gosh darn, can every game be made in RE Engine please? The condemned hotel has a haunting feeling, and for the short time you're in here, it makes a lasting impression. The first encounter with the policeman turned zombie is overall quite unique, having to avoid the shotgun blasts while stuck to a luggage trolley. It really shows that Grace is not prepared for this adventure and is barely scraping by. She is panicking, she stutters over her words. She is still that kid that was with her mother 8 years ago, when her whole world turned upside down, and it is all a completely valid response. For me, this is probably the best character introduction in any Resident Evil game. She feels more like a real person than the action hero archetype we have come to see, and unlike Ethan Winters, who is as bland as a bit of white toast. I mean, I understand with him, like that's kind of the point. It's more like a player insert, you know, like Gordon Freeman or Master Chief. But that moment when Grace loses her mother was honestly heartbreaking, and made all the more real by the terrific performance by Angela Santalbano. Hats off to everyone involved in this sequence. Also, this reminds me of Heather Mason in Silent Hill 3. From here, Grace meets the main antagonist of the game, Victor Gideon, an absolute mountain of a man, towering over her and able to handle her with one hand. You can probably now see the clear influence on this dynamic, in a way mimicking that of Clarice Sterling and Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. It's also hilarious when Gideon is carrying Grace through the streets, as he clearly looks like an insane video game villain that even a random passerby notices.
What's going on? Is she okay?
What the fuck do you think?
Oh, shit. What is this? Hey!
Grace awakens in the Rhodes Hill Care Center. Gideon is nowhere to be seen, and Grace needs to find a way out. For this section, Grace needs to find a fuse to open this gate and continue further into the care center. After finding a lighter, we can fully make our way around this section, but unfortunately, we are not alone. This creature, this thing, is hunting us, and we have no weapons. Only these bottles that are more useful as a distraction rather than on the creature. This section is very hide and seek in that way. Luckily, the creature is damaged by light, so we do have a couple of safe spots if we need to take a breather.
Oh fuck, it can do that?
Grace needs to escape, and right before she does, the creature gets her, seemingly with no escape. We need help. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Leon S. Kennedy. And you know, for a guy pushing 50, he is looking better than most men at any age. Leon is also investigating these cases, leading him to the Rhodes Hill Care Center as well. As he arrives, a zombie outbreak has spread, and Leon is still packing one-liners.
I think I want a second opinion. Shut your fucking mouth!
Leon is still as capable as ever, and maybe even more dangerous than he used to be. He's able to do these deadly finishing maneuvers on any zombie he comes across, and he can even use the chainsaw. As Leon catches up to Grace and saves her in the nick of time, we see just how experienced he is, staying calm and collected and taking out the creature with relative ease, using his brand new weapon called the Requiem, a cool as heck name for a weapon that does some serious damage. Leon even gives it to Grace as they get separated.
You sure?
You might need it.
Leon, the big gun doesn't work.
Jumping back to Grace, we now slowly but surely make our way through the care center, bringing back those classic Spencer Mansion vibes. And for me, this is the best location the team at Capcom has made since moving to the RE engine. I love the Baker House and Lady Dimitrescu's castle, but this really takes the cake. And aside from feeling like a fully fleshed out survival horror house with plenty of puzzles to solve, the enemies you fight add quite a unique flavor to this game. Coming off of the Mold People in 7, which were just bad, and the Lycans in 8, which were fun to fight in an action game, in Requiem we return to zombies, but they are a little different. Each zombie you encounter is almost trying to play out what they were doing right before they turned. This giant chef is pottering around his kitchen, possibly trying to make something. The cleaning lady in the bathroom is obsessed with keeping everything tidy, despite it all being covered in blood. And this one zombie is adamant about keeping the lights off. So maybe you can use that to your advantage and sneak around him. Every zombie is like this, and it makes them feel like more than just enemies to kill, but puzzles to solve. And while you can use your pistol and shove the enemy over, the best way to take them out is to craft these injectors, which take out zombies in one shot. Also, whoever thought of the singing zombie deserves a raise. Honestly. Jumping back to Leon, he is being interrogated by Gideon, and honestly, this scene is very... oh boy. Leon breaks out, and after playing as Grace for a while, it really shows just how different these two characters are. Grace's sections could take a couple of hours, slowly making your way around, having to avoid certain enemies and manage your limited inventory. As Leon, you can honestly pick up whatever you like, as his inventory is huge. He takes on the major boss enemies that Grace had to avoid. And yes, he still has one-liners for any situation.
Sorry, but I'm not on the menu. Shut the fuck up!
Overall, his section in Rhodes Hill is maybe 10 to 15 minutes long, because for him, this is just another day in the office. I find it really cool that this game is utilizing both styles of RE gameplay. The slower and methodical survival horror gameplay with Grace that is played in first person, and the over-the-top action gameplay with Leon, played in third person. You can also swap the gameplay perspectives for each, playing as Grace in third person and Leon in first person. A lot of effort for what is basically optional content. But yeah, I played the game the correct way. Grace eventually finds someone she needs to take care of. A young girl named Emily. She finds in this glass prison. She is blind and doesn't know why she is here. The creature from earlier ends up taking Emily into the basement, and Grace has to go down and find her. The basement section really feels like the culmination of everything Grace has faced. Having to deal with regular zombies as well as the creature, it is a great way to test the player and really pushes Grace into becoming the hero she needs to be. After escaping the basement, Grace and Emily find a helicopter pilot named Harry Reid. They need to find a key to get out of there, which leads to an almost condensed version of the final lab section in RE1, having a final mad dash to escape before the place self-destructs. This section also features the most memed line in the game, coming from Gideon.
I've done it.
Shut it!
I've done it.
Shut it!
I've done it.
Shut it!
After a failed escape via helicopter, Leon comes in and absolutely cleans house. And you have this boss battle in a church that feels like a redux of a boss fight in RE6, but actually good this time. Grace has taken a wounded Emily into the sewers and needs to find a way to escape, leading to a final confrontation, with the creature, sneaking around and turning on the power in this warehouse, eventually opening the shutters from above, and this reminds me of the final fight in RE0. But actually good this time. Grace has done it. She has escaped this nightmare. But unfortunately, Emily can't go any further as she starts to turn into this giant monstrosity. Having been experimented on by Gideon, he did the same with all the other creatures that have been hunting us. All children who got turned into these monsters. Grace doesn't want to hurt her, but Leon knows what has to be done. Grace has been haunted by the loss of her mother, feeling like she couldn't save her. And this situation, being thrown into the care center, pushing her into becoming a hero and taking care of Emily, I mean, you literally carry her around. This is some eco-level shit. And getting to the very end and not being able to save her, you can see the optimism leave. It almost feels like it was all for nothing. It possibly reminds Leon of himself back in the RPD, when the whole world turned to shit. I find it really powerful that when you play as Leon in this moment, even if you put the controller down, he still shoots, knowing that sometimes you can't save everyone. And literally 2 minutes after this scene, Grace comes across a dude that looks like fucking Wesker. It's not Wesker, it's a clone named Zeno. And yes, I can confirm that Resident Evil is still quite silly. And so concludes the first half of the game. Rhodes Hill was terrific and provided an incredible survival horror experience. While it felt like we didn't really get to play as Leon that much, he has a much larger role in the second half of the game. But before we get to that, I want to talk about fan service. So as the second half of the game begins, with Leon chasing after cloned Wesker into the heart of Raccoon City, I was a little worried. Oftentimes the idea of fan service is used as a crutch, to distract from really poor writing and execution, with the idea being it's for the fans, which insinuates that fans don't like good things? Let's use an example from Resident Evil 6, when Leon and Chris share a moment on screen for the first time. Damn, it's so cool seeing these two iconic characters share a moment together. And then you realize that nothing in this scene actually mattered. It was just a moment for the fans to point at the screen and go,
Oh my god, they're acknowledging me. They're acknowledging me. Thank god I haven't wasted my life on a product that doesn't care about me, a fan. Shit.
It's stupid and bad, and in the long run doesn't really lead to anything. Now, I think the best way to approach fan service is not to just make it important for the audience, but for the characters as well. What are we achieving for the story? Let's just say that Resident Evil Requiem went full Metal Gear Solid 4 with this shit, and it's great. Specifically the Shadow Moses bit. I think some of that game is really silly and stupid, but I digress. Leon making his way through the abandoned streets, getting a good stretch of time with him before the endgame. And while this section might overstay its welcome, it makes up for it with some incredible moments. Like Leon fighting a giant spider.
Oh my fucking god, what?
And having a bombastic, over-the-top motorcycle chase through the city.
He is 50 fucking years old. What the fuck?
This really feels like Leon is getting a last hurrah. The legend being given these iconic moments, showing that he can still go. Because this might be his last time, as he is infected with a long-dormant mutated strand of the T-virus, and it's slowly killing him, as well as everyone else who survived the Raccoon City incident, like his communications officer, Sherry Birkin. With Leon facing his mortality, it really feels like he is coming to terms with his trauma. Paralleling Grace having to face her past by returning to the Wrenhaven Hotel, Leon does the same when returning to the RPD. And this moment is just amazing. Seeing this place that was one of the most iconic locations in the entire franchise now run down and a shadow of its former self. It's almost like seeing a ghost. And just think about this moment if you played RE2 back when it came out. Not the remake, the original. It has been 28 years since you entered the RPD for the first time, and that is the exact same feeling Leon is having. It is a crazy full circle moment, and you cannot understand that feeling unless you were there. Hell, I didn't even know what that was like. I wasn't even a year old when RE2 dropped. I didn't even know what a PlayStation was. This moment in providing the same experience for Leon and the player at the same time is fucking beautiful. And by the way, the hits keep coming. Not only is Mr. X back looking exactly the same, but you fight him, you parry him, and you defeat him. Being able to take him on is such a cathartic feeling after all the strife he gave us in RE2. You even fight Hunk. You know, the fourth survivor. I wish I talked about him in my retrospective video. Is that fucking tofu? All of this leads to Leon giving everything he has, still pushing to try and save everyone he can. That is all he has ever tried to do. Meanwhile, Grace uncovers the truth about everything. In terms of RE lore, like every other game, it has some of the silliest retconning bullshit ever, and honestly, I don't really feel like going that deep into everything, but ultimately, for the main thread of this game being about Grace, is that she is actually the daughter of Oswald E. Spencer, the founder of Umbrella, and the man that has created all the horrific things that have happened in Resident Evil. In the 1990s, he was experimenting on creating the perfect being, cloning a child to try and create the ultimate life form as his lifelong goal. Her name is Chloe, and who knows how many times she has been cloned. Considering Emily looks exactly like her, you can guess it has been going on for some time. This section when you play as Chloe going through the orphanage is probably the weakest part of the game for me, and maybe this is a nitpick, but imagine if this section, I don't know, played with some fixed camera angles. There is no combat, and it could have been a nice throwback to the classic style in some way, but, you know, fuck me, I guess. Grace isn't one of the clones, but an orphan Spencer adopted. And she actually has nothing to do with any of these experiments. She is completely normal, not immortal or invincible, just ordinary. Spencer realizing that the point of life isn't to defeat death, but to live. The MacGuffin the villains have been searching for, Spencer's final weapon, is called Elpis, with Gideon and Zeno thinking that Grace is the key to that. And in the end, you get to make a choice: destroy Elpis or release it. Now, choosing to destroy it leads to the most dick-kicking sad ending in the history of Resident Evil, concluding in Leon getting shot in the face. Considering the director of this game, Koshi Nakanishi, is a massive troll and was also behind the bizarre decision in RE7 of picking between saving your wife or some random woman, this ending feels like more of a prank than anything. Spencer's goal with Elpis was to provide hope. After creating this nightmare that has been plaguing the world for almost 30 years, all he could do as his final offering is a Requiem. Elpis is a cure to the T-virus, a cure to everything he has done. After Elpis is released, Zeno loses his Matrix-like powers and goes out like a chump.
The Connections is done with you!
Leon is cured and is able to come back and defeat the final boss. And you know how in most RE games you get given a rocket launcher to take out the final boss? Well, in this game, Leon fucking parries the rocket. We are the final boss. Look at the aura, the source. Leon S. Kennedy is fucking back.
This time, you ain't getting back up.
As Resident Evil Requiem comes to a close, Grace and Leon have this moment together. No over-the-top cameos, just these two heroes at the end of it all, both having faced their demons and come out the other side, stronger than before. And in a way, that is what Resident Evil has always been about, facing your fears and entering the survival horror. And to continue the optimistic good guy ending, Emily actually survived, due to Leon not hitting any vitals. Yes, this is kinda silly and quite cheesy, but Grace is able to start a new family, and honestly, I'm okay with that. And this game has done so well, selling a total of 5 million copies in 5 days, and that is a crazy achievement. And I think this goes to show just how consistency can pay off. Focusing on great games that do what they do well instead of trying to make a live service game that would have gotten closed down in 2 weeks anyway. Wait, this game started development as a live service game? Thank fuck that didn't happen! As for the future of Resident Evil, who knows? Probably a couple more remakes, probably RE10 considering Zeno felt a little underutilized, and a certain Captain Redfield was mentioned. But for now, I can still say that Resident Evil is at the top of its game, and I am excited for what comes next. Anyways, time for me to Requiem. It's funny because that's the Latin word for rest.